Okay, that light's a little bright, but I think you'll be able to see, you'll be able to see our feet because that's our focus for today. We're going to focus on those feet. Let's see if I can get. Okay, that light's a little bright, but I think you'll be able to see. Okay. You'll be able to see. So we are going to work on our feet today. If you have a tennis ball or a golf ball close by, why don't you grab it? I've got a few other things, and we're going to really just have some fun with these beautiful feet today. The feet are amazing. There are 25% of the bones in our body are in our feet. The entire overall amount of bones we have in our whole body, 25% of them are in our feet. So it's no wonder if our feet are unhappy that our body's going to be a little unhappy too. And there's so many wonderful things we can actually do to help our feet. So this is my fun little bag. This is a bag that I've been putting together for years. And it looks similar to what you would see. I don't know if I'll even pop into the camera for a minute, but there are things that you would see in maybe a play school or a preschool where kids are doing hand dexterity. And that's a really important topic. People will do hand dexterity with the kids. But guess what? Our feet are so important and need dexterity as well. In fact, I almost want to say the feet are more important than our hands nowadays, because our hands are always doing these kinds of devices, but our feet are stuck in braces. And so they're losing a lot of function. And as a result, we're losing the ground and the connection and the foundation of our very body. So we're going to really dive deep today, and I'm going to pour out some of these things. I have golf balls. I have a lacrosse ball. I have, this is actually a Theraball. It's like a little peanut. I have these are little gems. See if you can see them. These are little gem type of glass bead gems that I picked up at like a hobby store. And my kids play games with them and things, but this is what I'm using. You can use marbles. Marbles tend to roll everywhere. These don't, so I prefer these over marbles just because when I'm giving them to clients and having them go get them, they're not falling all over where that's a hazard. We don't want them to be hazards, but we do want them to be something that the toes can pick up. I literally have little things that I'm using around the house that we're going to practice with today. And then I have more of a squishy ball that I love using. You can use a tennis ball. You potentially could even use, got some dice in here. Okay, so a few things. Then I have a rock too. And I'm going to use a penny because I want to show you a function of something. Take a look at this shoe, right? So this shoe this is one of my favorites. But I want you to see the surface area of the shoe that actually touches the ground. And you can see there's a small point, and then there's a small point here. And I have a nice size 10. That's a size 10, but my foot squeezes in that, and then you can see the pointy here. When I was young, I would wear the shoes that were tiny, and you'd have to squeeze your foot in there. And then they made your toe be in this point. And my feet grew that way. And then later in life, I'm finding as I grow, right, it was in my 20s and I still loved those little shoes, and I was doing some modeling in New York and they were putting us in tight shoes, and I didn't want to admit that I was a size 10 or 11 shoe. So I continued to wear small or shoes that really were not appropriate for me to be wearing. And that made my feet grow a certain way. And that's what's happening to our children. That's what's happening to everyone. Your feet are growing And if they are in something that is too tight, you are going to find that it is really going to affect your foot. And as a result of it affecting your foot, it affects the whole body. The good news, you can do something about it. You can change this. I have literally, and I experimented with this, so you probably can see the difference in my 2 feet. I did 1 foot for 1 month, and the difference was so significant that, of course, I had my own little experiment, and seeing both of the ways that my feet were affected, I totally changed the arch of my foot. So if you can see, if your foot is falling in or out, or your toes are crunched in, or you have bunions, you can absolutely change that without surgery. I've had no surgery, and I've completely changed where I had a huge bunion on, you can still see a little bit of it, but you can see how different it is. My toes spread out now, and I actually had a heel spur on the back, and I've completely changed it by taking care of my feet. And now, of course, at Yogalachi and any work that I do with my clients, we start with our feet. So look at all these fun little things I have on the floor. If you have kids, you can actually use Legos as well, but we like to pick them up because they hurt. They hurt to step on, for sure. But we're not going to step on them. What we're going to do is actually utilize them to pick up and get our feet and toes active again. So we're going to start with something very basic. We're going to first ground ourselves with our stance where you're comfortable. I don't want you leaning into one side too much where your weight is on one leg or one hip too long. I prefer you to be in a nice zip up so that you are in good form. But if we're just meeting and you haven't been through any of the other videos or the basics, don't worry about that so much today. Just let's focus on the feet and see where we're at. And by the way, if we are just meeting for the first time, hey there, I'm Stefana, and I'm the founder and creator of Yogalachi, where we focus on optimal movement, mindset, and nutrition to get you in the best shape of your life without pills, surgery, potions, and all that rigmarole, okay? Because you have an amazing body that's totally resilient, and I'm going to show you how to help it. So I've got a golf ball, and look, we're not trying to create pain, so don't step on it to try to create pain. Remember, the body's messenger of pain is information. We are not into let's create more pain for the body to see how far it can tolerate pain. That's not what we're doing. We want to listen to it for pain. So if it doesn't feel good, that it's painful, that's some information you may want to back off or to shift and use that as information. So right now, I can do something that I wasn't able to do before because my feet were so sensitive. But now I can go in and I can push gently on that golf ball. When I was first starting out, I could barely do a soft ball because my feet were so sensitive. But then as practicing with the soft ball, I would gently push in at the bones and I would stretch out and let the feet, the bones push. And then as you release off of that, you can feel the circulation starting to pump through there. And we call this washing. It's like wringing out a sponge. Let's say you have a dish sponge, and it's all full of water. So what would you do? You would squeeze out the water. So we're pushing into that. And then as you release, as you push into it, and then you release out of it, then the sponge goes back. So our foot in this case is like that sponge, and the ball is us squeezing out. So squeezing out, and then we're releasing and letting that circulation come back in again. And so I'm just doing it right about at the ball of the foot, and then releasing, and then I'm going to come down. Now, the thing about the feet, they're so magical. When I was taking reflexology, the feet are ultra sensitive. So you want to be very mindful. Of course, do this at your own risk. Make sure you know, this is for education and entertainment purposes only, and all of that good such and such. When you're doing this, pay attention to your body. You want to make sure there are certain acupressure points that correlate to the rest of the body. So you may notice certain sensations. Now, there are certain pressure points also that we don't want to be pushing on if there's certain issues going on. I won't get into too much of it because we're not doing anything for very long that will actually aggravate too much. But as you press and gently feel different correlations, this is actually a direct correlation to the rest of the body. If you were to look at your bottom of your foot, the toes would be a correlation to your upper body, okay? So your head, the neck, the sinuses in those toes, in the big toes. And you can start at the big toe, all the way at the tip of the big toe, and keep doing that washing type of motion that we were doing, right? The squeezing out of the sponge all the way down to that channel that runs from the big toe to the heel, and then start again and go to the knuckle, the second toe, and run that all the way down to the next toe. Now for me, I'm ready to go to another level up. Probably not the lacrosse ball today. Let's see. Ooh, lacrosse is a little bit much for me today, so I may not be doing that. Some people are less, they can actually do that. I'm not putting, even with a lacrosse ball, I'm still not putting a significant amount of pressure. There's no intention to create pain here. We're just doing a bit of washing, okay? So you're squeezing out, like you're gently squeezing tissue, squeezing and then releasing. And then we're just rolling gently along that channel all the way to the heel. So it's pretty simple. And by the way, my hand is right now on the wall, so I am balanced, and there's not a lot of imbalance in my other leg where my other leg would get tired. So we can go down all the toes, 4, all the way down to the 5th toe, and then any other areas, you can just play with that and roll. Guess what? You could stick these under your desk and do this as a daily action. Have a couple of the beads down and practice this. So with the toes, this is something that you could do, having these under your desk. And we stretch those toes out and grab the bead. So I'm going to stretch out the toes and grab the bead. Why do we want to do this? Because just like the fingers, the toes have the ability, dexterity, mobility. There's a joint by joint action that we want to make sure is still functional. Why? We don't use our feet. We're not monkeys. Huh? Oh yes, we use our feet every moment. They're the first point of contact to the earth. And so we want to have, like tires on a car, we want to have our toes balanced, our feet balanced. So if you are balanced, your whole body's going to stand and be very different. This is a huge difference. Already I can feel the difference in both of my feet from doing the other. I hope that you get a chance to try this and just be really easy with it, but do try it. And notice now, after you've done the washing, right, that washing motion and down, and maybe you've done a little bit of the lifting up the toes, lifting up the beads. It could be anything. You could get some rocks, get some coins, and just practice. All you're doing is wanting to re-establish activation and connection, energy flowing all the way down to those extremities. So you can see I'm doing some things, and for many people, their toes don't even move anymore. I understand that, and it's really sometimes very frustrating. So I have these are like little wall things. They go in the wall to put nails in. You could use a mani-pedi thing where you put it's a pedicure toe holder. Don't need to buy anything expensive. You probably have something around your house that you could use. And these toe separators, you could just play with this for a little bit. Just play with your feet, play with doing some motion and creating space. Now I'm going to keep practicing so that I can spread my toes out. I want to be able to spread the toes out like tires on a car. You want to be able to spread your toes out like tires on a car. Now you can see with my right foot, I don't know if you guessed which foot I worked on. I worked on my left foot for a long time. And now I'm working on my right foot. You can see how my toes are curled in because I wore, from the time I was super young, when I was in 6th grade, I was 12 years old and I had really huge feet. And I was 5'10", I was a big girl. And I squished my feet in the tiniest little shoes that did not fit me at all, high heels. And boy, I did a number on my feet. And you can see that, but I promise you, if you stick with it, you can change your feet. You can actually restore bunions and restore connection to your feet and the bones. But you have to allow for the time that it's going to take, okay? And not get frustrated and give up. Because if you give up, then you won't have the change at all. But if you keep at it, believe me, even 1% change is going to be significant. It's going to be a big change. Okay, so I'm going to show you with this penny. I'm going to make sure you can see this. I'm going to use this penny and I'm going to put it down so that the ball of my foot can go on that, because I want to show you the arch of your foot. Now, if your arch falls or you pronate, then you are going to want to rebuild this muscle. And a very simple way to do that is to restore the connection. All of these are muscles and all these bones. I mean, just think about these amazing bones in these feet. Wow. Push the ball of the foot into that penny. Stretch your toes out. We just stretched our toes out. And then I'm going to take, you could take a little, maybe it's a thumbtack, maybe not a thumbtack if you're not quite ready, but imagine that there's a thumbtack right there and you want to make sure that your thumbtack, that the thumbtack is, that you're not going to get stuck on that thumbtack. Really want to be clear if you guys can see. Take a look at this. So if you have a fallen arch, you can restore that fallen arch by putting the penny here, and just imagine pushing that down with the ball of your foot right there, and the toes spread out. And then imagine that there is a tack, and you don't want the tack to, you don't want to step on that tack, okay? Now you can see my arch has changed because that's all muscle. And we're going to work on those muscles to restore the arch of your foot. Because again, that's muscle. Now I wanted you to see this from the side, okay? There's one point. Now you're going to also see, I'm going to do it from the front now. If your foot is dropping in, oftentimes it's the weaker muscles up in the leg. But we want to anchor first and really come into contact with this tripod foot energy. That means we want to have both the point at the ball of the foot and just slightly out. So there's a point. In Qigong, we call this the bubbling well. And that's where we place the foot, contact to the earth, toes like tires on a car, all balanced, and then a plumb line straight down in your heel. So that if you were to look down, you can see here, I'm dropping down. But if I push my tripod foot and get my heel plumbed, I can now feel the muscles of my glutes turning on. And that's really part and parcel with the whole movement of the foot. Let me see if I can shift this lighting because it looks like that lighting is blinding us and you're not quite able to see. Let's see if that helps. Oh, I think that helps a lot. Okay, great. So let's now take that concept over to a wall. So you could take this at a door jamb, but now we're going to ask for our toes to go up the wall. The ball of the foot is going to be on the floor, but the big toe and the next toe and the next toe, all the way to that pinky toe, we're going to try to get it up on that wall. Now, this is, for some, if your feet are new to this, This may not be very comfortable. Don't force it. Don't try to create pain. But if you can begin this motion by gently then, and ideally we would just be standing because you can also get a nice stretch in the other calf. We can start to bring the knee towards that wall. And for some, it may be very, very easy, and that's totally fine. So you'll just do a few of those. And then what we're going to do is take the knee to the pinky toe and then bring it around to the big toe and just slightly out. Then we'll do that again. So we're going to go towards the outside of the pinky toe, aiming our knee that direction. And then we're going to move slowly towards the outside of the big toe. And then we're going to come back around. Now, it's not so much like you're swinging your knee, but if you're doing this, you'll start to feel a different stretch in the muscles that attach from the back of the leg, the back of this cat, right? So the back of the lower leg, all the way underneath the foot and up to those toes. And what's really fascinating is the fascia of the body is connected from all the way up the eyebrows to the big toe. And we can go both directions. So we can start with the big toe and wrap to the outside of that pinky toe. And we just do it a few times. Now, if there's any pain, you don't want to be pushing through too much of this. Pain and sensation are different things. So now that we're finished with that, you bring your foot off the wall and do an assessment. How do your feet feel? Is there a difference in those 2 feet? I bet there is. I feel a lot more circulation. I definitely feel a lot of muscle activation through here, a lot happening. And of course, as you know, I'm always talking about hydration, so hopefully you're hydrated. Now, on the other foot, I'm going to show you something different. Of course, I would like you to do balance both if you're going to do any of this. I always say balance, but I want to show you one last before we wrap. And that is one with a corner where the big toe can go up the wall. The ball of the foot is on the floor, but the outside 4 toes are actually coming down on the floor, okay? So, and I'm going to open this. I'm not quite to the point where I can go straight in, but ideally, so if you had a corner, you would come here and do, you could do the corner here and then press out. You could do it that way and bring the knee towards it because you want to stretch through there, okay? So you can just go, it's just the big toe up there. And then we want to be able to push slightly past so that we can stretch. There is a muscle, it's a beautiful muscle. It goes all the way through and up. And that is going to help restore that arch. And what's really fantastic is this is so connected all the way up the legs. Everything's connected that when you begin to get that motion down, you will have a better range of motion in your squat. So as you can see, I'm coming down into a nice little squat here and feet staying flat. This is something you see kids doing this all the time, right? Here I'm holding myself up here a little bit, but you can see the difference in a squat where the feet are down after I've done work like that. There's not a lot of tension in there. So there's a method to this madness with the feet and why we want to take care of the feet. In fact, I remember reading about, I think it was Eisenhower who said, an army is only as good as its feet, or a general has said that about an army is only as good as its feet. And well, a lot of that has to do with, there's so much correlation. I remember when I had shoes that were too small, they just hurt. And as a result, I was not a happy person. My head hurt, I would feel uncomfortable, but I was a little vain. And I think sometimes we have to choose what's better. I can tell you now in my 50s, I think it's really worth taking care of our bodies as we can when we're younger. I so wish I had this knowledge when I was younger. I could have saved a lot of headache. But hopefully this will help and you can start using this. And no matter what age, you can always take care of your feet. They are worth being taken care of. And you can still wear cute shoes. I still wear my cute little shoes. But as I wear them much shorter times, right? I don't wear them very long. And when I wear them, I'm very aware, because the moment you are now creating instability from the main place of stability of your body, the feet, you know that now you've just created instability. The rest of the stabilizers in the body are going to have to work that much harder. And the joint next to what's supposed to be stable, the foot, that mobile joint is now going to have to work hard and do double the work. It's going to have to try to be stable, but guess what? Ankles are not stable joints. So why do people, and you see these women with the legs dropping all over the place? It's because this is not supposed to be a stable joint. It is a mobile joint, and it will move side to side. So you have to remember that when you're wearing shoes that destabilize you, the rest of the whole body will then have to compensate. And so you just have to understand. And if you're going to wear them, weigh the consequences and just know you're going to have to work that much harder, getting stable in your core, getting stable in your glutes. I would really make sure your glutes are firing strong. It's not that you can't. I mean, we've seen dancers, and dancers wear these beautiful little shoes, but I'll tell you, they're so light on their feet, and most of their stabilization is coming from their core. And, you know, we talk so much about the core. Let's see, come in here and say, we talk so much about the core here, and it is key. But it works with the whole body, and we don't want to get stuck in core, 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 without saying whole body, whole body, whole body. Harmony. Create harmony with the whole body. All right, so I hope that helps. Let me just go through a couple things and give you an idea. I have everything from the expensive things that you got, you know, that are custom made, to literally, I bought these at like the dollar store, and they're just little squishy balls. These are my favorite. I think I got 2 for $1. And they're just squishy ones. If you have dogs, they'll probably steal them, so be careful, make sure you get safe ones. And then I've got a variety of different golf balls. Have them around your house. Have little things around your house that you can use to restore the feet and the health of your feet. You will notice a huge difference, and really, happy feet equals happy body for sure. Okay, I think that's all I have to say. Happy Wednesday. I try to do a live every Wednesday, and I try to do something that correlates to some questions I've been getting or some things that clients are needing. So hopefully this helps, and you can use these as tools. Ask away, post your questions in the comments, and I will definitely answer. If you haven't done our Stronger to the Core 5-day training, I did it as a live challenge. I'm not doing it live right now, but I still have an amazing book and an amazing 5-day training that goes along with that. And you can tap into that and then just join in our we have a private Facebook group, and you can join there and hop in there and post some things in there. I'm in there on Tuesdays with a live, so you can get some support. Lose weight if you need to lose weight. That is definitely the window that, or the door that most people come to me for. If you need to lose weight, losing excess weight that you don't need to have on your body is going to make a huge impact on your feet. Feet do so much work, and we have to really make friends with our feet and love on them. So if you're carrying so much excess weight around, your feet are definitely having to do so much extra work. So let's get that weight off. I don't do it with pills or potions. We look at what's going on with your own body, and we do some really beautiful nutritional components. It's a holistic lifestyle piece. Never, never, never starvation. We're not doing any kinds of wonky, crazy stuff like that. It's really a holistic approach. So your body naturally wants to release excess weight that it doesn't need. And then we really get you functioning in a way that your body is, again, in harmony. And that's what we want, where you're strong, where you're energized and confident, and you feel amazing. Plus you look awesome. So that's always a fun component. And again, you can reach out. Well, if you're watching this, then you'll know we're right here. This is our Yoga Lachi channel. And be sure to subscribe, comment, ring the bell. Sometimes on Wednesdays, I'm with a client longer or doing something and I can't do the exact time. So make sure you ring the bell and you'll get a notice when I do go live, and it'll give you a few minutes to see if you can pop in here and ask questions and join us live. All right, super fun. The feet, oh my gosh, they're our favorite. Everybody who comes here knows that we don't wear our shoes, and I want to see your beautiful feet. I want to see them, and we like happy feet. Okay, until next time, have a great, let's see, what can I say on the feet? Have happy feet and get them out on the earth. Maybe go play in the dirt and the mud. Do something that you haven't done for those beautiful feet in a while, that allow them to, something more natural, not something that's like, just do something. What would be beautiful for your feet that you could do? Epsom salt baths, sure, that's awesome. Things like, foot massage. Yeah, there's so many beautiful, beautiful pieces. In fact, I think I will teach something about some reflexology for the feet next time. I remind myself to do that. And yeah, good. Okay, so have an amazing week. It's spring here. It's March. And I hope you are doing well. Make sure you're hydrating, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.